This is one of the best motorcycle batteries I think you can get for your money. But well, first I want to tell you, if you're going to use a charger on this battery, make sure you use a nice light charger. I do not like using a standard trickle charger that doesn't have a desulfation mode. I like using this thing. Right now, this is the old battery. This is the same one I put back in. It says like shocker on it. It's the same thing. Um, it's you could I think I don't know what's the design is on a new one. They're really designed. It's advanced glass mod technology, 320 cold cranking amps. But let me tell you what I think is the best thing about it. You see this? You got a screw here, right? You can screw it in on the top or the bottom, because normally, or the side, you can screw it on the top or the side. The normally you have to take there's like a horseshoe shaped clamp up terminal up here, and you got to take a bolt with a nut and a washer and try to get that on there when you're fiddling around with the wire, because you're trying to hold up the battery and get this all done at the same time. This makes it a much easier to install because these are pre-threaded into here. So on this one I had to do, this is on the Sportster, I had to do one on the side, one on the top. And this, what I did was I put, like just I did last time, I wrapped electrical tape around it and put a zip tie, just in case, even though it's about that far from the frame, I made sure it wouldn't make any, you couldn't short out. The thing is, this one lasted 5 years. Now, it was actually still fairly decent. If I let the bike sit a while, sometimes I'd have to crank it for 10 seconds, and then it was getting really slow. And I said, well, it's starting to go. So what I did was I tried to put a Bedini charger on this thing. The Bedini charger, which is like, I think it's a 5 amp charger. It's not really that strong, and it does a different type of desulfation to the place. It does work very well for automotive batteries. But and I have used it on this a little bit before, but I put it on there several times and it screwed the battery up. So I'm never going to use a Bedini charger on an automotive battery. I do know that the Bedini charger from Renaissance, they sell a couple models, like they sell several models, but for the automotive batteries charger, the one's a 5 amp and one's a 10 amp, I think. I'm glad I got the 5 amp one, because the 5 amp is plenty strong enough for the automotive batteries, and I heard some people had problems with the one that's stronger. But that charger is not good for these things, I don't think at all. Well, that proved it. I did last 5 years because I was using this thing. And I'm going to put this on the bike right now. I'll show you how I do it, because there's a trick where, and I don't know if you can do this with every bike, but you can always make an adapter where you can put the charger on a bike while, it's the battery's in a bike. In other words, there's usually a terminal on the starter where you can get to and put it on there. You notice that's why I have this wrapped up like this with the tape, so. And I'll try load testing to see what happens. I definitely think it's screwed up though, unfortunately. But I was going to use it in the right under that brown cloth over there. That's a diesel generator. I was going to use it in that because I got actually the battery that's in there is probably at least 10 years old. It's an Odyssey battery for motorcycles, and it still barely starts up that generator. This one was actually stronger than that one until I put the Bedini charger on it. I think I totally screwed it up, but I don't see any bulging on it, so I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I have the charger, and you can see it's a solid green light now. It'll go to, when it's fully charged, it does a blinking green light. This battery minder thing is great. It takes a while to charge up the battery, but very safe. So the way I always do it, you can see the starter motor right there. That's where the positive is connected to the battery itself. And that's why I put that gray Gorilla tape or T-Rex tape on there, so it's an insulation, because you don't want to touch this thing and short out the positive to the ground. And even if you want, say, if you're not that super fussy about things, you can always take a grinder and grind like a U shape in this thing a little bit, so you got more room to put that in there. Because this way you have a way to jump start the bike. Or you can make a little tab off of that out of some like naval brass, and not steel, naval brass, which is because it doesn't rot, or stainless steel, and have it stick up a little bit, and then put like a rubber sleeve over it. And this way you pull the rubber sleeve off and you have the tab right here, and you can put a jumper cable on it, like an automotive style jumper cable, which would be pretty cool. And I always ground it out to some bolt. So that's how that battery did last. It was still lasting, it was still working, but it was getting weaker. For 5 years on a motorcycle battery is pretty good. And again, I bought batteries that were like standard lead acid and stuff that weren't the better ones, that for $50. That one's like 120 or something like that. But they would last 6 months. So in a couple of years, you're going through $200 worth of batteries. You're not getting a bargain by buying a cheap one. And the other thing is that one doesn't spill the acid, and it's more shockproof. So, it's cheaper to get the right stuff in the first place. By the way, these battery chargers are about $50. You get them on eBay, Amazon. That's the model number. You don't get the fancy ones. Just get the simple one, the 1 amp. The simple one actually works better. Okay, just for the heck of it, I'm going to try to see. This is actually a load tester for a car. So this has got 320 cold cranking amps, and you can see right now it's putting out like 12.7 volts, like it's saying 100% charge, but that doesn't mean it's got the power behind it. When you push this over, it puts a load on it, and you got to put it on there, I guess for several seconds, and it'll bring it down. And if it, these different graduated marks over here, if you can see those, you say 1,000, 800, 600, 400, 200. Now this is like, even if it's like in a weak area for a motorcycle, it should be good, but watch, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to go right to the floor. Oh. I bet you'll start the bike again. That's over 300 cold cranking amps. Wow. Did you smoke coming out of there? That's just the resistors in there doing that. So it put the load on. Whoa. Take my words back. I guess the battery's still good. So that means it can go in the generator. Excuse me, what you call it? The diesel generator battery to start that thing up. That's surprising. So the Bedini charger fixed it. I mean, not the Bedini charger, the other one, I forgot what you call that stupid thing again. I got another one over here on this. Keeps the batteries alive a lot longer. Look at that. This thing, the Battery Minder Plus. I got a few of these things. They're really great. So, I guess it fixed it. That's cool. Let's try it again. So it's sitting over, that's pretty good. Huh. That's amazing. So it's got a couple good starts in it easily. Wow, that's 5 years old. So again, I guess, the Bedini charger is good for the automotive. Just use those battery minder things, the one I just showed you a couple times. And again, this battery is great because it has, you can put on it's already threaded. You can put it on the side or the top. It makes it way easier to install this thing when you're trying to fiddle around with that little nut on the back of there with the washer and stuff and the wires. You're fumbling around with it. It makes a simple procedure. But you think putting a battery in is nice and simple. It is simple, right? But some stupid little thing like that, when you're fiddling around trying to line up that little bolt and stuff like that with the wires, and you're trying to hold the battery up at the same time, it makes it a problem. Actually, what I do with the batteries, I've always put something under them, so I have them out off the tray, and it could be a box. And this last time I used a couple of old paint cans, put them on top of each other, the batteries resting on it, pull the wires over, and it was able to get behind here. It made it easy to put it in. Anyway, well, that's cool. I did want a new battery anyway because I don't want to get stuck someplace. And I should show you one more thing too. Yeah, one thing I installed some years ago is this. It's like a little it's a little LED voltmeter. So now the thing's on a charge right now. It's a slight charge. It's going to stay up in the 13 volt range. Normally it'll be down here, and if you just turned it on, you can tell you the condition of the battery right from the get-go if you're going to start it. And you know, right now it's charging, so it's in the green. But usually when it's running, it'll be up in the green. If something goes wrong with your charging system, you'll know it right away. The reason I got it on this bike is because this bike has the stator up where the clutch is. It's the 86 to 90 Sportster version, where they got the 4-speed, and sometimes the weights come off that clutch basket and they destroys the stator, and you got your charging system doesn't work. Well, I had mine machined a long time ago. They put them in a nylon basket and stuff, and they machined the weights different and stuff. So it probably won't do that anymore, I think. And so far, it's been good for years. But I always wanted this because I could see what's going on. The other thing is let me see if I can start it up here. I like having this. These are, you can see that, you know, some people, I don't have them on there for looks. I got them so I know my ignition's good. You see that? It was a little sparking, right? I don't want to run it long because I don't want to burn the wire on that thing over here. But yeah, I like that too, because if you're cranking it over and you don't see, you know, if you see test for spark, well, I know it's got spark. If you're cranking it over, it don't start. I've seen a spark. You know, something's with the fuel, right? That's why I like that. And again, I like this. It's very. They got some that just do a number, like it'll say, you know, 13.2 volts while you're running, or 13.2 to 15 while it's running. I like this better because it changes color. So like, again, you know, if you have it on, like if it goes up into 15, it turns just like a bright blue. You can saw what it was changing color. Makes it a lot easier to see what's going on in the glance. I forgot where I got these from. They're very easy to wire in there. Yeah, it goes from like red to orange, and then up here you could barely see it's blue. That's not lit up. That's lit up from the camera itself. So this is all dark in here. So it'll go green, green, and blue. I think the last one is blue. That could be a possible overcharging situation, because you got to be running. Well, you got to be running like 13.2 to 15. It's usually what you're charging. Going over 15, that could be just that your battery's low, though, you know. But that's very, very handy. So if you got an overcharge condition going on all the time, it'll be in that blue all the time. Then you know the problem is the regulator, right? If it's overcharging all the time, more than likely it's the regulator. If it's not charging, it could be the regulator, it could be a wire, it could be the stator, whatever. But that tells you what's going on. So if you got this thing all of a sudden going down here below 13, it's not charging on you, you know you got to get someplace quick before you run out of battery juice and you're not going to be running anymore, right?